Comparison between the novel 1984 and USSR by Raphael Lee and Daniel Kim. One of the comparisons between USSR and the novel 1984 is that they're both totalitarian government. So to begin with, the definition of totalitarian government is a system of government that is centralized, dictatorial, and requires complete subservience to the state. When people talk about the 1984, it is mostly about the totalitarian government and its control on people. What many people do not realize is that for millions of people in the Soviet Union, 1984 is a daily life cycle. One of the comparisons between 1984, the novel, and the Soviet Union is that both of them have total control over their people. In the novel 1984, Big Brother and the inner party members are ruling over the pros. The second comparison between the novel 1984 and USSR is that inner party members have priority on resources. So in the novel 1984, the leaders and higher-ups such as inner party members had better food, clothing, and houses compared to civilians such as pros, who did not have enough food and lacked in clothing. In the novel, when Julia gets access to inner party members' food, it is just regular chocolate, coffee, sugar, and etc. However, when Winston and Julia enjoyed heavily, this example shows poor condition of normal workers compared to inner party. Not only that, the higher-ups had the special privilege to turn off their telescreens whenever they wanted to. The Soviet Union practices similar system, where the higher-ups have access to better food, clothing, and homes, while the ordinary people will get less and innutritious food, just enough to survive, and will lack in everyday needs, such as soap, toothbrushes, and etc. The third comparison between the novel 1984 and USSR is that they both had thought police. In both 1984 and Soviet Union, they used secret surveillance systems to watch over people's actions. In the Soviet Union, they used secret police to watch and arrest citizens who commit thoughts or actions against the major party. In 1984, in the novel 1984, inner parties set the telescreens everywhere, in houses, public places, and etc. Also, they used thought police to arrest anyone who commits thought crime. In both the novel 1984 and the Soviet Union, normal citizens cannot find out who are the members of secret thought police. For example, Mr. Charrington was a member of thought police who Winston never expected to be police. Also, in 1984, they educate troops and spies among children. Children are used to watch over their parents from thought crime. The fourth comparison between the novel 1984 and USSR, aka Soviet Union, is that in both the novel 1984 and Soviet Union, the inner party members changes the history to benefit themselves. This helps control the people since they do not know about the past, whether or not it was a better place. In the novel 1984, there is a place called Ministry of Truth, which is a department that changes the history. For example, Oshana is at war with Astasia, but the government changed it into that they are at war with Eurasia to build up enmity between the two groups and among comrades. In the Soviet Union, they removed the faces of the enemies of the people from the pictures. Not only that they were killed, they were removed from the pictures to show that their presence was wanted. The fifth and last comparison between the novel 1984 and USSR is that they both have propaganda by media and literature. In both 1984 and through the history of the Soviet Union, propaganda is a very significant device used to manipulate the ways that the citizens think. Both groups use victory as a factor of the propaganda. They used it to boost the morals of the soldiers and encourage the civilians to join the army. In 1984 especially, inner parties used the propaganda factor, victory, to gain control and keep order among the pros. Also, they used a technique called the 2-minute haste, which is one of the many propaganda techniques designed by Big Brother. This glorifies Big Brother as a savior, denouncing capitalism and all opposition as immoral and unacceptable, and false advertisement was widely used throughout the 2-minute haste. Just like what Joseph Stalin did, which was remaking history by force. This was a quote that was by him in the novel. Whoever controls the past controls the future, and whoever controls the present controls the past. In conclusion, it's evident that Soviet Union and 1984 are similar totalitarian regimes. Plus, how both regimes had total control over people, which made people suffer. By making comparisons between two regimes, it's clear that George Orwell satirized the fascist and totalitarian government at that time in the novel 1984. Also in his other novel, Animal Farm. Orwell's satirical novel is correct and trustworthy because it's based upon his experience at wars he fought with government like Soviet Union and Spanish. In general, Orwell was accurate in making 1984 as a microcosm of regimes like Soviet Union. Thank you very much for listening and have a great day.
Yeah, he was like, "What's your name?" I was like,
What's your name?
Beer. He's like, "What's your last name?" I was like, "I will remember you."
I remember you by your name.